Reagan Smith sent $10. What's your thoughts on women going into politics coming from a girl in high school? Him thinking about politics later down the road.
Do not get into politics. Steer clear. Not for you, sweetheart. Sorry. Get married. Have kids. Why would you want to be in politics? We don't even want women in politics, man. We do not want women in politics. Women are not even interested in politics, okay? There are very, very few women that are truly interested in politics. They like it. They kind of like the idea of it. And we just don't need it. And you just can't have women in a male space. I'm a huge believer in this, huge believer in it. To have women in politics, it destroys, just like women in any other male space, it just destroys the space. And you want to know why? Because men treat women differently. That's why. Men treat women differently. So a woman walks into any room, even if there's a room of 100 guys, if one woman walks into it, it not only changes the dynamic of, like one person to another, the dynamic of the whole room is now different. Because when it's all guys, everybody can be honest with each other on some level. When it's all guys, nobody's worried about appearances. Nobody's worried about how they measure up. When a woman walks in, everything changes. Some people start to perform for the woman, start to put other people down. Hey, I'm the coolest cat here. I'm the biggest, strongest guy here. Hey, how about me, huh? Other guys say, hey, we can't pander to the woman. Let's keep it the way things are. Because it creates sexual competition immediately. You think about it. Like, when you're in an all-male space, the coach, the drill sergeant, the boss, they can say what they need to say to the men. Because the men aren't worried about saving face, not as much. They're not worried about being humiliated. They're not worried about looking weak necessarily. It's more tolerable. The second that a woman comes in, you can't look weak. You can't look like you're deferring to another guy. It just changes the whole dynamic. So I'm very against even one woman being in it. People think, well, what about her? Is she the exception? No. Because a woman enters and immediately creates sexual competition, and it just changes the dynamic of what everyone's trying to achieve in the room, of how the guys can relate to each other. And, politics is always going to be male-dominated for obvious, self-evident reasons. To have one or two women in there, all it does is throw a wrench into it. So I'm very against it, very against women in politics altogether. And you start to see it. It's like women influencers come online and they do a show. And you know what happens? Everybody starts watching it because they're attracted to the girl. Oh, you're the best. Oh, you're great. You're awesome. And, then the other guys start to say, oh, well, she's not so great. She's not really aligned, this, that, or the other. And then the guys, the simps, defend her. The simps defend the girl because they're attracted to her. And they start to say things like, well, but she's a net benefit, bro. No, she's different. She's actually smart. Because somewhere in their primal brain, they think that she's going to have sex with them if they defend her. Like somewhere in there is that mindset. Or they're peacocking. I'm a protector of women because I'm a real man. I'm protecting. Dude, she's a fucking live streamer. Like if a live streamer is doing political content and she's being critiqued and you say, hey, guy, don't talk to her that way, you're peacocking. She's not your daughter. She's not some girl on the street. She's in politics. People need to be critiqued in politics. The only reason you're inserting yourself in is because you think it confers masculinity or something or strength. And this is a signal to the opposite sex. It's a sexual signal. So you just can't have them. You can't have any of them at all. So no, stay out of politics. Not for you, sweetheart. You got to get married. Sorry. You want to be in politics? Marry a political guy and talk to him about it and raise your kids with that in mind. But yeah, we don't want women in politics. Sorry, nothing personal. Just, and this used to be understood. This used to be just like basic. Everybody knew this. And now Everybody's a simp. That's a big part of the problem, is that everybody's a simp. So, yeah, anyway. That's my advice. Thoughts on, I'm in high school. I want to do politics down the road. You're in high school. You sound like a nice person, but you're going to be way happier as a mom. And no, you can't do both. You have to do one. And you shouldn't even be in politics anyway. So, if you go to college to find a guy and then get married. Go to college, find a guy, get married, because time goes by quick. The thing that you got to realize is, once you hit the age of 18, you hit light speed and your life starts flashing before your eyes. You turn 18, you blink and you're 19, you blink and you're 20, you blink and you're 22, you blink and you're 25, you blink and you're 28, you blink and you're 38. This is how time moves. And so if you're not serious about looking for a husband at that point, in your most fertile years, you're going to be behind the 8 ball. You're going to be behind the curve. You want to get started early. So my message to women is to get married early. My message to men is to wait a little bit. So that's, if I'm you, if I'm going to be you, if I'm a girl in high school, that's what I'm going to do. That's my advice.
If I have a daughter and she's asking me whether or not she can or should get into politics, the answer is going to be a very quick and stern no. No. I totally agree with what he's saying as far as, go get a husband, raise a family, you'll be much happier. Women, and I've spoken to a bunch of them in their 30s, a bunch of friends that I have in their 30s, they feel like they've been bamboozled. They feel like they've been lied to. It reminds me of that speech that the Kansas City kicker was given when he got in trouble at the school, or I don't know if the school he got in trouble with, or people just outside were chiming in, when he was telling the young ladies there, being a mother is an amazing thing. He was pretty much promoting being a mother. But of course, society didn't like that, because society likes to get into women's heads to seek power, right? Society wants women seeking power and being as close to men as possible, right? That's just what that particular agenda has pushed on the liberal Democratic side. Do I think women should be allowed to? Of course, women should be allowed to. They can get into politics. But I would never recommend that for my daughter. I would never recommend that for her. And in this society, a lot of young women will probably be pushed in that direction because they may see a Megyn Kelly, they may see a Candace Owens or a Nikki Haley. I don't know. Yeah. They may see a woman in politics, Kamala Harris. They may see, I was getting ready to say Hillary Clinton. They may see a woman in politics that they're attracted to and say, you know what, I want to do that. Cool. They should be able to do that. I'm just talking about as far as what I would recommend if somebody asked me, whether my daughter or just a random girl was asking me as far as with politics. I would say don't even get into it. It's too messy. I just wouldn't recommend it for a young woman. Now, what Nick is tapping into, I'm not going to run from. I'm not going to avoid. I also have to acknowledge that I think most men are more equipped to deal with politics. Just is what it is. I think some women are more equipped to do certain things more than men. And I think politics is one of the areas where men are more equipped because it's something that you have to rely on your logic rather than your emotions. I don't care what study comes out. In my opinion, I just think women are more emotional than men. Just is what it is. I also think that for women to get into politics, to get into these type of careers that require a whole lot of time and attention and effort, it's going to take away from them potentially having a family life. It's going to take away from that. Like I said, I have a lot of friends that feel like they've been lied to, they've been manipulated into, they've pretty much been gassed up to go ahead and become a CEO, go chase corporate success, because that's what's celebrated, right? They want to feel good about themselves, and they see that as an area where women are celebrated. Now, what the Kansas City kicker was trying to do, I think his name is Harrison Butker. My apologies if I got it wrong, but he was trying to also celebrate being a mother and counter that celebration. We do a bad job of that in society, just celebrating being a mother, being a wife. They do a great job of marketing the other things, so we need to make sure that we're countering that. and showing that celebration, showing that appreciation, because a lot of these young girls, they're only going in these directions because they want to feel good about themselves, and they see that and those type of people that have success in those areas as being celebrated, being highlighted, being praised, having a certain level of power, which makes them want that. It becomes intoxicating, right? It's something to strive for. So let me just keep it short, and then I'll let y'all go. Do I think men are more equipped to do well in politics? Yes, that would be my bias. Do I think some women can do exceptionally well in politics? Yes, it just is what it is. Would I recommend if a young lady or my daughter was asking me as far as should she get into politics? No, absolutely not. I wouldn't recommend it probably for most men, other than the fact that it's a responsibility. I think we look at it as where it's like a cool job. We can become powerful, where people get into it for the wrong reasons. It's a responsibility. It's like taking out the garbage. Are you excited about taking out the garbage because that's a man's role? No, you're not excited about it. I'm taking out the garbage, right? It's not something that should be seen as glitz and glamour, how it's celebrated right now. It's a responsibility, no different than taking out the garbage. Now, obviously it's different, but y'all kind of understand what I'm saying. So go for it. Do whatever it is that you like. Are there some women that are capable? Absolutely. Would I recommend it? No. Would I want to put that burden on somebody that I'm close to, somebody that I'm potentially dating or a family member? Absolutely not. Fellas, go take on that burden. Just like there's a lot of other jobs where I think fellas are more equipped to take on the burdens. So other than that, I think he made a final last point when he said that time goes fast. So a lot of times we get caught up in our careers, and before we know it, it's late for us to have family. It's late for us to have, kids and a husband. Or obviously on the men's side, even though we have a little bit more time, as he pointed out, and it takes a little bit more time for us to maybe get in that man position to where we're ready to have a family, it can go quick. When he said that 38, I'm 38, and that definitely hit home. So to each their own, to each their own. Y'all heard my opinion. You heard Nick. I'll see you on the next one.